What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cronos in this video. CRO. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. Cronos. There's a lesson to be learned here, and it's not just from Cronos. There are various cryptos that will offer the same lesson time and time again as the cycle progresses, as the bear market progresses, as the next bull market goes on. Or throughout your whole life, you're going to get this exact same lesson time and time again, where Donald Trump, some famous celebrity, whoever it might be, is promoting a project or partnering up with the project, and boom, your peak euphoria, this thing's going to the moon, and it's a terrible time to buy, right? A lot of people were peak euphoric right here and on this date as well. The thing is, if we zoom out, we get away from the euphoria, we look at this thing overall, it's pretty clear to see that this would be a point at which you find resistance, right? It's pretty clear. It's pretty damn clear. You know, we can go back even further, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Let's take this all the way back here from this low and just line it up. Look at how perfect, right? Let me shave it down a little bit even, right? Like support, resistance, a little bit of resistance right there on a closing basis. Pretty perfect, right? Maybe you take the closing looks here, closing there, and you put it at the closing ones here, right? Closing low, closing highs. It's clear as day you'd find resistance there, right? In fact, if you sold above this line any of these times, you sold at the perfect areas to sell. And then beyond that, beyond the diagonal lines of mischief and misery, if we use the high to low here on our Fibonacci retracement tool, the golden ratio, which rarely fails on its first attempt, provides resistance right here at the golden ratio and prior support and prior resistance here. It's very obvious that we're going to find resistance there, right? The last video I made on CRO, we were actually talking about that right at the top there. We were talking about how the price would come down. I was making a warning video. I got some hate. Donald Trump is partnering with, like, he's a fan of Trump. They're gonna, you know, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Show me a partnership and I'll show you some TA. Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. And the news is great, but the TA is stronger, right? Here we are rejecting the golden ratio. We're back down now to our prior areas of resistance, which are now probably going to be support, right? Not only that, but right here on a wicking basis, we're wicking right to that. We're finding support at prior resistance right there too, all up in this area. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's meant to be. Don't tell me it isn't. Low to high, right below the 382. It's very common in a very strong move like this that you'd go right up or right to the 382 and bounce from there. Very, very common. Okay. Could we go lower? Yes, we could go lower and it's still fine. But I'm making this video because I think we're more close to a low point than we are close to dumping down lower, right? I think that we're at a point where it's good to buy, right? The last video that I made about Cronos, we're at the top here. Good point to sell. I'm making this video now strategically because I think that we're at a good point to buy, probably. We're going to look at some of the shorter stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit lower to go, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I want to look at the charts all together with you guys. So if that sounds good, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it, all right? 1 hour time frame here. Zooming in a little bit. The RSI looks great. Higher lows, higher highs. You're getting overbought. You're not getting oversold, but it's the 1 hour. Don't get too excited. Stochastics look great, and the MACD looks great as well. So good. Bullish on all fronts there. The 4 hour time frame, you're turning this into an uptrend clear as day. You got higher lows and higher highs in the RSI. Stochastics are bullish, and the MACD is about to cross above the zero. Bullish on all fronts again. We love it. We love it. So you're in a downtrend, and you're probably about to break out. Now, a lot of people think that once you break out of a downtrend, and sometimes it's this way, but most of the time it's not. Just pay attention. So a lot of people think that once you break out of a downtrend, boom, it's time to go. Most of the time, no. Most of the time, you break out, you get your breakout move. We go from 20 cents to 25 cents in a day. Beautiful, whatever. 20% pump. And then we come back down and we find support at prior areas of resistance or even back testing the trend. We kind of figure ourselves out. Really, it's going to seem like this, okay? This is the picture that's going to happen. We broke out of the downtrend. Now it's time to go up. Oh no, we're coming back down. We're going to see a lower low. It's going to be either of these extremes. Nobody's going to catch the idea of the middle ground, which is that instead of breaking out of the downtrend and just making a straight move like this, we're doing something where we're shifting the momentum, where we move up, we move down, we move up, we move down. We're kind of shifting. We're going from a downwards trend to a kind of sideways trend, and then we get set up for our upwards trend going later into October, maybe the middle of October or later, right? We're probably going to have a very bullish month in October with this project here. Daily time frame, hit the oversold zone, very tenacious move all the way down. Stochastics have been beat up, and the MACD has been beat up as well. Got a little bit of a double bottom there on your histograms. I think that you're in a good area to find support, right? And again, same kind of thing here. When you move down and you found your low, was it time to move up? Hell no. When you broke out of your trend, the lower highs here, when you broke out of the trend, was it time to move up? Hell no. You moved sideways. Then you moved up. You had a nice little pop working your way up, whatever, a little volatility here and there, and then you had your fantastic move later, right? It's going to be like that. Here, you might have found your low. I mean, all these other indicators are very suggestive that you have found your low. I wouldn't be surprised if you did. If we're looking at this from a relative, I think this would be a good relative low. Let's take this low. Maybe put this at a high here. You're well below your 382. It doesn't look well respected. Maybe I took the wrong fib. Let's take this low. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. You should have gone lower. In all fairness, you should have gone lower. The fact that you didn't, I think, is a testament of strength in itself. But closing back above 20 cents, you guys, is very important. You close above 20 cents, I think that you do on a daily time frame. You close above 20 cents, I think you will validate this as a low. And then from there, again, you'll have your breakout move. You'll validate that you're breaking out of the trend. And then you kind of work yourself out, right? You find support at these areas that you're finding resistance at. You build from there. You get higher lows and higher highs, and you start to build. But I do think, as of now, it's not official. You're waiting for confirmation, but you're very close to confirming that the low is in. So even if you do go a little bit lower, the lowest that I'd give you, and you're at about 19.8 cents now, the lowest I'd give you is about 16.8 cents. So 3 cents lower. Nothing dramatic, just a little bit lower, if at all. You might not go lower. I want to look at this on something with some volume. Yeah, the volume's non-existent, right? It was existent when you pumped, non-existent on the dump. So you're probably not, this dump is probably not long lived. You're probably going to move up here pretty damn soon. Okay, that'd be my expectation. I want to look at this at the weekly time frame and just see what you're doing in respects to this. I should take this fib, I think. High to low here. Golden ratio down. Yeah, you look great. You're right at the perfect areas to find support. I think it's beautiful. Looks perfect. This is kind of, I don't want to call it a bull flag. Kind of, right? Kind of, but maybe not really. When it comes to moving higher, let's go back to the chart that doesn't have a lot of volume on it, but it has the all-time history. We take the all-time high from November of 2021 to the bear market low in October of 2023. A little bit longer of a bear market for Cronos. High to low there. Golden ratio down to the 0.5382 area. This is actually very common. This is exactly where you'd look to find support, and we found support right in the heart of that zone. It's perfect. It's beautiful. The next area that we move up to is the 786, 886. And I would fully expect that you find resistance there at 52 cents to 70 cents. You're at 20 cents now. You're going to go to 52 cents to 70 cents by the end of October. Okay. By the end of the month of October, CRO is hitting 52 cents to 70 cents or higher. If it doesn't stop here, it's because it stopped here or here. You know, it went higher. I don't think you're going to go all the way up here by the end of October. Maybe by the end of the year. It's a little bit harder to say. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw new all-time highs by the end of the year. Will you be all the way up at 224 or higher? Maybe. Your primary target zone is 224 to 635, okay? That's the primary target zone. Once you get above the golden ratio at 635, the secondary target zone becomes your oyster, okay? And that is between $14 to $128. Now, let's even see if those prices are feasible first before we start touting nonsense. Let's see. CRO. $6.8 billion market cap. High, very high market cap. Okay. Not very high for the crypto space, but you're number 22. Pretty damn high relative to a lot of cryptos. Overall, you know, you've got higher lows, higher highs. You've been around for one full bull market and one full bear market. I think CRO is entitled, doesn't mean that it will see this, but it's entitled to a $100 billion market cap or greater. Okay, it can see that. So from a $6 billion market cap now, let's say $7 billion, about a 15, let's say probably a 13x. 13x would give you a $100 billion market cap, right? So 13x would be about here. So can you hit $2.24 by the end of the cycle? I think so. By the end of this year, maybe. That's a 14x. I don't think CRO is going to stop at a 14x. I would think you at least do a 20x, which would put you above your 1 for 1 for. Little known fact, little fun fact here. Typically with the 1 for 1 for, you don't stop right at it. You do stop just above it. So a 20x, which is what I expect the average altcoin to do between now and the end of the cycle, and CRO is in that average altcoin space, being number 22 there. I wouldn't be surprised if we did stop somewhere around $4, maybe $4.20, maybe $3.69, whatever, around the end of the cycle. That could be your cycle high. So as far as good minimums go, I think that's a perfect minimum. Something above $100 billion sounds about right to me, right? Because that'd be a 20x that puts you at about $140 billion. Okay. Could you go higher? Absolutely. Now we're asking the right questions. But here, now again, talking about the market caps, putting this in perspective, already to see CRO at a $4 price, a 20x from here, that would give you about a $14 billion market cap just below there. because it's like 6.8 billion now. So 7 billion times 2 would be 14, but it's 6.8, so it'd be more like 13.6 billion. A little bit above there, whatever. $4 will get you almost a $14 billion market cap. I'm getting tied up in the semantics. We look at the top coins, and guess what? BNB is worth 140 billion right now. So that's not a small order, right? BNB has been around for a lot longer than just last cycle, and it's at 140 billion now. We're talking about now we're talking about BNB here in the kind of lull pre-alt season, where CRO getting up here, this would be peak alt season. Okay, I could see that happening. Are you going to break out and see a $14 price or higher this cycle? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because again, just referencing it to what BNB is already, and no offense to CRO, but it's nowhere near BNB's capacity, right? Even if it was Coinbase, it wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Because Binance is worth more. It just, no, nowhere near. I have a hard time seeing you get above 635. What I will say is I like this 340, $4, 420 area as your end of cycle dynamic between about 340 to 420, right? That area right there. As far as 635 goes, I think it's possible. Again, because peak cycle mania is different than this lull phase. Could you see a 32x? I mean, that would put you up above $200 billion, but I think you could. Or around 200 billion. I think you could. I think you really could see that. But that would be peak mania. You'd be there just like you were last time, where you were there for a moment of a week and then you drop back down, right? It's not going to be like Binance where it's living at these valuations, because again, we're talking already now about a valuation that's deeper than what Binance has right now. But by that time, Binance will also have, I mean, Binance will probably be a $1 trillion, multi-trillion dollar company, or BNB, I should say, will be a multi-trillion dollar market cap, if not over $1 trillion by the end of the cycle. I wouldn't be surprised, or somewhere around there, right? Nowhere near where CRO is going to be. I have a hard time seeing you stop at $14 or above, or breaking above the 635 area. And one last thing that I'll leave you with for CRO, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but typically, okay, from a high to a low point here, typically, you don't see crypto stop anywhere else other than their golden ratio or their 2272 whenever they see new cycle highs. I don't see CRO getting to the 2272. I don't see it getting to its 1618. I barely see it getting to its golden ratio. So typically, this is that kind of max area that you'd expect. 635, 343, somewhere in that area by the end of the cycle. I think you'll be a lot higher than you are now. You'll be at 52 cents to 70 cents by the end of October, and you should be reaching for new all-time highs by the end of the year, going toward 343 and beyond, going into Q2 of 2026. I've got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.